Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Little Life Lessons episode 5, and today we're going to be talking about honoring yourself, but not only yourself, your past self. A lot of podcasts, it's like you just have to speak all the way through, but for mine, I definitely cut my audio. Sorry about that, but I do stumble a lot. I'm not a perfect podcaster. I didn't start a podcast because I wanted to show everyone how well I can speak. That is not the case at all because I wanted to yap. It's just like a little girl talk. Let's move on to the topic. Okay, today we're going to be talking about honoring your past self. And how did I come about this topic? My friend and I were having a conversation and we have been friends for a while, and we started talking about our relationship in the past. And it was crazy because we were talking about like who we were as people in the past. And it got me thinking because throughout all of our friendship, the version of herself in the past, it kind of like gave her the ick in a way. But I was thinking about that time when we were friends in that same past tense where she was talking about that version of herself. I was thinking about that girl and I was like, I loved her. Like, I love that girl because that is the person that I knew I wanted to be friends with. That is the girl that I knew I could share my secrets with. Because I do look back at a lot of old videos and stuff, I revisit the past a lot, but I revisit it in a very neutral way. I have no judgment. I actually sometimes look back at my old videos where I create art or whatever it is, and I actually appreciate it just as like a viewer. Like sometimes I'll look back at my old YouTube videos and I'll be like, oh my goodness, I was so young then and it's crazy to see how much I've grown. Or also I'll look back and just be like, wow, that girl was going through that at that time and now I can completely see it and I can completely see straight through everything I was doing. But at that time I couldn't. And it's very interesting because say I'll make a video when I was 15 years old and 15-year-old me put that vlog out thinking it was like the coolest thing ever and I loved it so much. Like it was, really amazing quality content. And then 2-3 years later, let's see, 18-year-old me will watch it and 18-year-old me would be like, that's the cringiest thing ever. I can't believe I acted that way. I can't believe I said stuff like that. I can't believe that I even just had a personality like that. And then 24-year-old me would watch it and 24-year-old me would be watching 15-year-old me and I would be like, I am so cute and I loved who I was because that is still so a part of me. I just share it in a different way. And I can honor that that was who I was and not who I am now, but still in me in a way. I think it's funny because 18-year-old me wouldn't have thought that. It's through all those experiences that we learn and grow, and then we can look back at ourselves and either appreciate ourselves or realize we don't want to be certain ways and do certain things. For example, I think when 18-year-old me was looking back at 15-year-old me, it was probably because 18-year-old me rejected so much about herself that 15-year-old me didn't reject. So when 18-year-old me was watching 15-year-old me, 18-year-old me was like, she is so weird. She is so cringy. I can't believe I did that because I rejected that within myself at 18. But at 24, since I've learned to accept a lot of aspects of myself, I can look back at 15-year-old me and really appreciate the fact that I was just a kid. And I was just being a kid. I wasn't doing anything wrong. It doesn't matter the way I presented myself because I was just a kid, And 18-year-old me was so serious about like being liked or being a certain way or being successful in a certain way that she rejected the joy in her life. So when she was presented with this joy that 15-year-old me showcased, she was like, that's so, no, like cringe. The thing is now at 24, I feel like I'm more like my 15-year-old me because I've actually learned to come back to myself, but just in a more mature way. And I'm still 24, I'm still learning, I don't know everything. So there's probably a lot of things that I'm doing now that 30-year-old me would be like, she was actually just a kid too, you know? The one thing I do know is that I don't want to be hard on myself. I don't want to talk negatively about myself. I can look back at my past self and really appreciate who she was. And I also heard this girl talking about this, looking back at your past self and honoring your old self and appreciating who she was, because she said this: she's the one who decided to change. My 15-year-old self, my 18-year-old self, my 22-year-old self was the one that decided they needed certain changes in their lives in order to continue to progress and succeed in the way that I want to. I used to look back at myself and judge so much, but that was because I was judging myself in that moment in life. I was judging my own self, and I was looking back at 18-year-old me or 15-year-old me, and I was like, oh, I can't believe she did that. And I would put her in a box because she wasn't who I felt like people should be. But at the end of the day, everyone has their own personalities. Every human has their own personality. Every human has their likes and dislikes. Every human has their own intention of doing things. Just because, and this is what I'm learning now too, just because somebody does the same thing as you does not mean they have the same intention behind doing the same thing. But I am going on a little tangent. Let's go back to honoring yourself. If I think about my past self, I think of a girl that has and holds so much love and joy and hasn't had the experiences to mature herself, but also hasn't had the experiences to realize how hard life can get sometimes. So when I look back at my old self, I realize how much joy and love I hold. And sometimes it can be uncomfortable for me to look back at my old self because of how much joy and love I was acting out of. I have more awareness now, so I'm more cautious. You did the best you could with the knowledge you had at that time. You have to give your old self grace. You have to give your younger self that patience and understanding, because you may not understand in the same ways anymore, but you just have to give space and pretend that part of my life never happened and that was never who I was. But it was who I was. Who I was at that time created this version of myself because it made me realize who I didn't want to be. It made me realize now who I want to be. Sometimes you just have to realize we're the hardest on ourselves. I think if we really have friends that love us, they will love and support you in all the versions of you. Not saying that they're not going to tell you if things are wrong or you shouldn't do things that may not be the best for you, but it's more like they'll love all versions of you and they'll hold space for you as you grow. You probably underestimate the amount of love the people around you have for you. For me, when I see the growth of my friends and the particular friend I'm talking about, I've loved all stages of her. Although she might not have, I did. And although I might not have loved all stages of me as I was growing, she did too. Sometimes you just have to realize we're the hardest on ourselves. I think everyone gets that way. The past versions of yourself made all the choices to be where you are now. If you're not currently happy with the version of you that you are now, what does self-love look like? How can you show more love to yourself? Who do you want to be? What are your boundaries with yourself? How can you show up for yourself in different ways so that you love yourself, so that you continue to nurture and create positivity in your own life? I was walking the other day and I was in an area where I frequently visit. Love that area so much. And I'm walking and I'm like, wow, a long time ago, I remember walking here with one of my friends and I just felt like a different person. First of all, I was a different person mentally. Everything was different, but the place was the same. It was so interesting to feel because I'm a completely different person revisiting the same place, walking on the same path. And it's like if it was a movie in my head, I could picture my however old self walking the same sidewalk. And then I picture my current self walking the sidewalk, and it's like flashing back and forth between my old me. And I can really see the difference of who I was to who I am now. I thought that was such a beautiful experience because between that time, which has been many, many years, I visited the same place. But every time I visited, it was like I was a different person every single time. I'm gonna give an example because I think I'm talking very abstractly. Say you are in a relationship and this person brings you to a field of flowers. You're running around in the flowers, it's warm, the sun is shining, and you love that experience and it was a beautiful memory. And you and this person break up. But sometimes you go and revisit the flowers. So a year later, you revisit the flowers. You're not looking at the flowers like they're a field of flowers anymore. You're looking at the flowers with memories of what it first felt like seeing those flowers, thinking of the joy you had with that person. And you're sad. Although looking at a field of beautiful flowers in the springtime could be so beautiful, but it's attached to a memory. 3 or 4 years later, you come back. You've experienced life, you healed in a way that is very beautiful, and you see those flowers, and you start to appreciate the beauty again. You start to appreciate the beauty of what the flowers are, but you also start to appreciate the journey you've had from the first time you saw those flowers all the way till now. From the beauty of enjoying those flowers for the first time, to seeing those flowers and not seeing the beauty, seeing the memory, to seeing the whole journey for what it was. Because you've gone through the sadness, the heartbreak, the pain. Now you can appreciate the first time you saw those flowers. Because now you're out of it, you can appreciate the whole journey. And I think that is a part of honoring yourself in your past. You're experiencing all of it, all the good, all the bad, the whole journey. And I'll accept all of me if who I am now is the repercussion of all my old versions. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. Let's go to the little loves for today. One little love I have right now is vision boards. I made a vision board for my laptop, for my phone, for my iPad, and I'm making different vision boards for things that I'm trying to call into my life. And I'm really excited because they're so aesthetic and cute, and I'm really happy to just look at it. Like every time I unlock my phone, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are my vision boards. And it honestly helps me stay focused with what I want because I see my goals and my vision in front of me. So I love the process of making a vision board, and I love vision boards, and it's also New Year, so it's just perfect. One thing that I love about me right now is that I have so many creative outlets and I love it. I've just been singing a lot more and playing piano, and doing photo shoots and creative shoots are always so fun. So I love that I have so many creative outlets, and I love that I don't feel trapped in what I'm doing, and that's what I love about me right now. So I hope you guys like this episode of Little Life Lessons. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Mwah.